Hello everybody, this is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins, just outside of Washington, D.C., north of Richmond, Fredericksburg, Virginia. I have my sweet wife Ingrid here today, and she's going to hit me with some questions, and I'm sure we've got some good ones this week.
I was going to say, I've got some good ones after everything we've gone on.
Yes, well, the stock market lost $10 trillion this week, or Friday. So $10 trillion has been taken out of people's wallet.
Yeah, I think
week.
Thursday and Friday it was down.
Yes,
both
astronomical.
Days. I mean, a lot. So who does that really hit, though? Let me start off with
that.
Okay,
who does that really affect? Well, it's interesting that what's happening is the asset class, people who own land, own companies, own a car, whatever, cars, paintings, their wealth is going up. But if you are in the stock market with your 401k or your pension or you're in dollars or whatever, you're losing. You're the working class and you're losing. And that's what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to turn this thing around where the people who are connected, whether they're politicians, which by the way, the millionaires have doubled. And I mean, 8-figure millionaires have doubled here in the last few years.
Especially if you're a politician.
Especially if you're a politician, all of a sudden your wealth is doubling.
Yeah.
And their friends' wealths are doubling.
Yeah.
Because they bail out the banks, they bail out the insurance companies, they bail out J.P. Morgan, and so the asset class people are increasing their wealth, and there's only like 8% of them that are able to, or less than 10%, whose wealth is increasing. But everybody who's dependent on the dollar, whether you're in savings or 401k or in the market, ETFs, you're actually losing.
Because of inflation.
Right, because of inflation, which is the result of printing money.
Yeah.
Which, makes the value of assets go up, makes, the people who work and save, they're going down in their ability to produce and get to a higher level.
Yeah.
More savings, be able to retire, these types of things. So then we start subsidizing those things. We start pumping money into Social Security to bail it out, and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So yes, inflation hurts. So we're trying. The Trump administration is trying to switch this from a spending and a deficit and a fraud economy, which benefits just the very high elite. He's trying to swing it back to where it's a manufacturing company and it benefits the working class and the middle class, and people can progress up. They can start out, at 20 years old working at a factory, then they can become a manager, then eventually an owner. So, and bring those opportunities back to this country.
And the tariffs are doing that.
And that's what the tariffs are designed to do, because take China, for instance. We have a video that we'll link to where Pelosi was talking about in the 90s. And there's many other videos. You can go watch Clinton and Gore and Reagan and Obama and Biden. All these people were saying that the trade deficit, the tariffs are eating the country up and blah, blah, blah. But they never had the courage to do anything about it. They just would talk about it, and especially when it was election time. They talk about, hey, we need to do something about the China tariffs. Well, back in '96, they were 34%, and Pelosi was screaming and crying about that. Well, now it's 67%.
Yeah.
And now China's threatened this Friday to raise it another 34%. So you can see that we need to switch this around.
Yes.
It's going to be very difficult. I cannot emphasize that enough. Can it be done? There sure are a lot of people hoping, but I tell you, I don't know if they can pull it off. It's going to be rough.
And especially when you've got the people with the microphone yelling and screaming and saying how terrible it is.
Reminds me of the monkees in Wizard of Oz. Because Oz, O-Z, is an abbreviation for ounces.
Yeah.
And it was silver slippers in the book, ruby slippers in the movie. But the gold brick road going to the Emerald City, which is the dollar. And eventually she pulls the curtain back, and it's this little old man pulling the levers for the Emerald dollar city. And isn't it funny, the no courage, no heart, and no brain.
Oh my goodness.
And they're listening to the monkees, which is the media right now. The media is just hammering Trump.
Oh my goodness.
Just hammering the situation. This is all his fault. Listen, if we don't deal with this problem willingly and face it head on, we will deal with it unwillingly.
Yeah.
And we will collapse. We will collapse. We will not be able to put the pieces back together. So we need to get our minds and our hearts and our courage up to see what's coming and what needs to be dealt with. And it's like we talked about in our other videos, the baby kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult, and the media is just making it worse.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
I chase down a lot of rabbit trails and go all over the place.
But that's good. That's true, though.
And it's amazing to see. And like the 10 trillion we're talking about now, a lot of people have called me this week, and they're like, what's going on? What's going on? Gold's going down. Gold's going down. Well, in fact, I wrote the numbers down.
Okay.
The Dow is down 10.5%, negative 10.5%. The S&P is down negative 14% year to date. These are year to date numbers. The NASDAQ is down 20%. So that would be at 20%. That is a bear territory. They're starting to get into a bear territory. Gold year to date, take a guess.
It's gone up.
Gone up 15.75%.
Wow.
Year to date. Now silver's about flat. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
But on gold, we had talked about our prediction for gold and how it was coming up to the 3,000, and we pretty much hit that right on. Within the first quarter of this year, it would hit 3,000. And then we said it would clear 3,000 and get to 3150, something like that. I had to adjust a little bit, and now it ended up being 3180, I think was the high. But what we were looking for was the pullback for the foundation to be put in for gold to run again. Irrelevant of the tariffs, we needed a pullback. Sure, they blame it on the tariffs. They say, oh, we had these tariffs, so therefore that's why it's crashing. No, it had been overbought, over-escalated, and it needed to come back. So we're seeing it come back. We're seeing it put in a good solid floor because it did not go through 3,000.
Right.
So once we've done that, which is what we predicted earlier, we get to 31, 3150, 3180, maybe possibly round numbers. Then we're going to put in a stopwatch for 8 months when it'll hit 4,000.
And you said actually, we were talking how it went down because of margin calls too.
Right.
Possibly.
Some of the reasons so people are calling up and they're asking, how come it's going down? Why is it going down? What's going to happen? What's the situation? Well, it's going down because the broader market is going down and people are getting margin calls.
Yeah.
If you've got $10 trillion in losses in the market, people are losing money. And so if they put $10 in to control 100 and they've lost that $10, which a lot of them did because it's down over 10%, 10%, 14%, 20%, they've lost that money. So they need to put in another 10% in order to keep their position, or they're going to lose their position.
Right.
So what they do is they go to their gold and their silver and they'll get some cash and they'll cover their margin call to hang on.
Right.
So, but eventually what happens is people start to take their losses. They say, I don't want to put any more money in.
Yeah.
I got another margin call. Just get me out. I just want to get my principal. I want to get what I can out, and I'm going to go into a safe haven and ride this thing out. And then you'll see gold and silver reverse and go back up.
The tangible.
The tangibles.
Because they'll go into tangibles.
Right, they'll go into tangibles. And it's the same with the miners. The miners are, I would say that the miners are getting prepared to take a huge bath right now. So you might see some buying opportunities. I'm not a financial advisor. It's just my opinion. Educate yourself. Do some research. Because I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that miners are going to take a big hit before they go to climb up again. But gold and silver is down right now. The premiums on coins are up just a little tiny bit, but a lot of people are selling. Our situation this week is we've had sellers in here.
Yeah.
And so we're reducing the price of our stuff down to everybody else. We're dropping. Because we're able to replenish with these people coming in and willing to sell at the new lower price. If people will come in and sell to us at the lower price, we can immediately drop to the new lower price.
Right.
And that's what's happening. People are selling. Why? They're fearful all of a sudden.
It happens, didn't we say all the time?
It
They
does.
sell it when it goes low, and then they want to buy when it goes high.
Yeah, and when
it
they
should be
get
the
scared,
opposite.
well, they're back to the scarecrow and the Tin Man
my
and the
goodness.
no courage lion. You know, they're listening to the monkeys, and they're not realizing that this is a long-term problem and a major issue that we're going to have to try to deal with, coming up.
Yeah.
So Scott Bessent did an interview on. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Scott Bessent did an interview with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
We'll try to put a link to that. It's really good. Scott Bessent, he kind of hemmed and hawed, and I don't want to say lied. A lot of people are using the word lied. I just think that he's got to protect certain issues and plans and programs.
Keep his cards close to his chest.
Right. In order to pull this off, they've got to keep their cards close to their chest. I'm a little leery of what's going on, but he's saying that there's no tariff on gold, and he's saying I don't know who's bringing this gold in from London. So I just don't know if I can believe that. I'll be fascinated to find out one day if it's actually him that's bringing all the gold in, or is this Warren Buffett, or is it J.P. Morgan bringing all this gold in, and are the tariffs really off of gold? That's going to be interesting to find out.
Yeah, so from other countries, so if you want to buy from Canada, are they gonna? That's what he's talking about.
That's what he's talking about. He says, I don't know. I thought there was no tariffs on gold. So he protected himself.
Yeah.
But I have not seen any tariffs on Canadian stuff. We're still able to get it.
Yeah.
We put in a large order for Canadian silver maple leafs, and they were able to fill it no problem. Of course, they're in Maryland, and they're worried a lot about the new tax that's coming
Sales
on
tax
them.
for them.
So we may be losing our wholesaler in Maryland with the new tax law. And it can happen so fast. July the 1st, we could be seeing taxes on them real soon.
Oh, my, so much happening. Then you said you did forecast a pullback. We already talked about that, how
we see the pullback, right now, the low 31.50. And as far as silver, let's go back and catch up with silver.
Okay,
So it got up to 34.50, and our prediction for that is we need to break through 35.36, somewhere in there, and then we're going to run to 50 very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And you can have these issues, tariffs and all these different things that move the markets, and we've had that during the Biden administration. During the Biden administration, there was a 10%, 12% pullbacks right in the middle of his administration. No media coverage. Mum's the word. Nothing was said. But this pullback's all Trump's fault. It's not. It's the underlying problem of spend, fraud, and debt.
Yeah.
That's what really is the problem.
Just glutted.
And it's going to take the nation down unless we do something about it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we finally have a presidency that has the courage to do something about it.
Yeah.
All the other presidents
have
talked about it. Congressmen have talked about it endlessly about this problem.
All talk.
But nobody wants to do anything about it. Well, it's because they were on the take.
Yeah,
you see, they had these NGOs that were funneling money back around to them.
Exactly.
They became 8- and 9-figure millionaires off of this. So they'd get up and talk a big talk at election time. We're going to cut this. We're going to line by line. I remember all the line by line cutting.
Oh, honey, they also talked about how they were going to fix the border, and they never did. And it was always just talk.
Fix the border,
crazy.
right. Never do anything about it.
No.
Biden used to say, I don't have congressional approval to close the border. That was his excuse. So it's always excuses during the administration, but promises.
Right.
Well, now we've got somebody who made promises and he's fulfilling them.
Yes.
And yes, you can critique and pick, and he didn't load the gun right. He didn't shoot it hard enough, fast enough. He's too fast, too slow. You can pick at everything that somebody's doing because we're human. But ultimately, the goal, the vision is that we've got to save this nation.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well,
That's
thank you.
Really
is that it for today?
I think there was one more question I had.
Sure, let's do one more.
You had said something to me earlier about J.P. Morgan has 100% ability to assist the market.
Yes, let's talk about that.
To go lower. I wanted to ask you more about that.
Yeah. So people are saying, how come gold and silver are going down? Well, J.P. Morgan, like we talked last week, has 100% control to manipulate the market.
Silver especially.
Well, we've talked about many different ways. Let's talk about a new one this time we've not talked about before, and that's spoofing. And so what they do is they'll go in and they'll drop a massive multi-billion-dollar sell order, and they'll put that in the market, and then they withdraw it. And when they put it in, it causes everybody else to sell because they want to get it at the high price before this other, because they front run this sale. But then at the last second, or just a split second, they remove that sale. It's called spoofing, and everybody has already sold.
Oh my goodness.
And so they can throw that hook out and pull it back as many times as they want during the day, and it triggers sell orders. Because
crazy.
Right. Because some people are front running, and the JP Morgan is spoofing it. And they're spoofing it by making this, 10, $15 billion sale.
Yeah.
Then everybody else jumps in. Oh no, I got to get it before it goes any lower.
You think they catch on to what he's doing?
Yeah, well, it's retail people that are new, and retail people just continually are being replaced and continually learning this information.
Wow.
Most people haven't even heard of spoofing.
No.
But yet they go in the market and they put their money in there. I'll tell you another one that they do. You go and you buy an ETF, and you think that money is going towards purchasing, say, a miner.
Yeah.
You're purchasing this miner. Well, in your contract, you're agreeing to let somebody lease your shares and run a short maneuver on you.
Oh my gosh.
So you put $1,000 in. For $100, they lease your $1,000 worth of shares, and they use that to short the market. So your money is being used against you to reduce the price of your investment. Does that make sense?
That's what I call the house always wins.
The house always wins, yeah.
They just keep making all these rules that you can do, and for the little person.
That's basically no way. And that's how come we said, we talked a little bit last time about laws, and we could never touch on all of the different laws that have been put in place to protect the house and make them capable to lie, cheat, and steal.
Wow. Unreal.
And there's just one law on top of another law on top of another that they can use your money. You put $1,000 in, you put $10,000 in, purchasing miners. They reverse that, lease it from the fund that's holding it, and then use that as short. Use that money and those ounces to short the market, and then drive the price down even lower.
And they poo-poo tangibles because if just 1 or 2% of those, you said.
Yes, more monkeys.
If just 1 or 2% who held ETFs wanted to put it, called and said, okay, I want to take.
Yes.
That would completely.
One millionaire got in on the silver squeeze on March the 31st, and he bought 1% of all the 1.25%, I think, percent of all the silver in the world.
Oh
just with a minor bit of his money. I think it was I can't remember the numbers, 10 million or something. But he's a billionaire. So what's 10 million to him?
Yeah.
He could single-handedly cause them, or someone like that, which I heard that oversees these family offices, they are buying up silver and gold now.
Family
so it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. What do you mean by family offices?
So family offices are families that have large amounts of money. And they actually have an office to manage their money. And it's huge wealth. And it can be in billions and billions of dollars. And these family offices, wealth funds, all that, they are maneuvering in, they're private little thinkers, people getting together. Hey, I heard about, Auntie says we should be in gold, and Uncle says we should be in silver. And they talk to their financial advisor, who's the family office guy.
Yeah.
And they prod him and push him, which, of course, there again, laws keeping him from doing that. But family offices are more able to do that. And they are the ones, when they start to turn to gold and silver, that I think will swing the market, not the retailer.
No.
Because the retailers that come in here, they see the price hit 31 and they think, hey, a new car, pay off my credit card, get some money.
Right.
A few people do come in and buy, but it's about even. It's just about even.
Yeah,
buy,
it
sell,
is.
buy, sell, buy, sell. So it's not the retailer.
That's what we've noticed.
Here
It's
at the
just
shop
even,
or at other shops that's going to move the market. It's family offices, sovereign wealth funds, and nations, stocking up.
That's true.
On gold and silver, the big money.
Have mercy.
And Esther's pyramid. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but gold is at the bottom. And when all of those derivative dollars and all of those created money, when
out of thin air,
trillions of dollars start to go into gold and silver, it's going to run the nominal figure of gold so high that we can't even imagine. I don't know where it's going to go, but we've talked about it'll be on par with the Dow. And we don't know when, right? But we're definitely headed that way, and we're headed that way faster. It took us 45 years to get to 1,000, 12 years to get to $2,000. It took us 4 years to get to $3,000, and I'm thinking a year and something to get to 4,000. So we're going really, really fast because of this spend, debt, and fraud
Yeah.
that the Trump administration is trying to get us out of
Yeah.
and put us into a manufacturing economy again.
Right.
With AI and factories, we don't have to have, menial labor. We need skilled labor to
Yes.
run these AI computers,
Yes.
run these systems,
Right.
build these systems, So we're talking about high-paying career-type
Right.
jobs.
Right.
We're not talking about, manual labor, because
No.
those days are gone.
Yeah.
Let's get the crypto world into
Yeah.
this country and
That's
grow
true.
that.
That'll be something.
Very good video, lots
That's
of
great,
information.
baby. Thank you.
Thank you, y'all.
Blessings.
Bless you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.